Hey, how's it going? So I pulled some cards, but I also have some notes. So I knew that once I started talking about certain things recently, that I was going to say some things that wouldn't necessarily go over well with people. And there are a number of things I need to say about that. And first of all, the saying something that someone doesn't like, that happens a lot for me. So believe it or not, I'm actually like kind of more careful than it would appear about it. Like there's a lot of consideration that takes place before, even though I'm a blurter, there are a lot of times where I'm not doing that and I'm considering the, consequences of what I say, how I'm going to feel, how it's going to make other people feel. And I wonder, did I put my shirt on backwards? No. Anyway, I'm just like very aware that I don't want it to be damaging to anyone else. And a lot of times the reason I'll go ahead and say something where I have this going on in the background is because I feel like if I'm feeling it, someone out there is feeling something like it. So the Diddy stuff triggered, I could it's pretty obvious on the internet and now I guess on television that a lot of people were. So I'm not so sure that like the rabid interest in all of the comments are what people are publicly characterizing them as so much. Like, yeah, it's people gossiping and it's, yeah, people jumping on and saying a bunch of stuff and no one's there. And this is like a really important point here that people are saying amidst all of the saying that we, are like saying a lot of things about this one person, and there are varying levels of people that have like, I guess, evidence or receipts to like make it okay for them to be saying what they're saying, even though in those cases, I guess it's allegedly, literally dangerous to do so for their health. But the nature of the situation sounds like everybody is just fed up with it. And so it has triggered people. And because even if they were not in that situation precisely, they may have some things that have happened in their lives like it, or, adjacent, that break open stuff in you. So, like I said, a lot of people are reacting, so something's going on. So I'm not in such a hurry to jump all down everybody's throats for the way they're reacting to this, because really, like I've been saying, this is spotlit and everybody gets to look at it. And unfortunately, I think the reason why is because conveniently in our society, easy to scapegoat like black people. And I didn't finish my point on something that's important in the middle of all of this negativity. The person at the center of it, like the main guy and then the people around that person, are also going through some stuff. And it is probably well to keep in mind that there's somebody like above them, or they have like a sort of superior in the organization. I mean, they have expectations on them too, and so they are also going through some stuff, you know, and sexuality is getting all mixed up in it, and that is being made like the bad part. And it's like, abuse of power is the problem here, not the sexuality, in my opinion, because that's like a personal thing, really, I think, for each person. Like, can you deal with it or not? It's been around forever, and not liking it and being against it and not believing it, that's been centuries old too, and it's still here. So I think maybe some attitude adjustments might be in order in relation to that. So, I, you know, just want to put that out there. Like, maybe we should all, like, take a moment. One second. I don't think I have this particular card handy. Will you get the frick back? Oh my God. Some of this stuff is like so against where I want to put it. It's like I'll put it in the place and it'll be like, no, it'll like jump out. Yeah, I probably got too much stuff there. I know. I don't have like, there's a dearth of storage here. This, I think, is what we all need to do in this situation, because there's a lot of talk about good and evil and right and wrong, but changes in the air, changes in the world, and I think part of the change is for, you know, to work our way through like the personal part of this issue, where you have like a personal feeling against like the sexuality thing. But, you know, there is also the matter of like, that's just like mixed up in it. It's not, that's not the problem. The abuse of power is what the problem is. And like I've said it a number of times, a lot of people work really hard at their craft as an entertainer, you know, and then you run into this, like, what? I gotta do what? I mean, how bad do you want it, I guess, is the question. And I just feel like if we can look at somebody else and go, ugh, you did that because, like, I don't know, like, what would you do for something that you really wanted, you know? Like, I can't personally, like, people are going to do what they're going to do, and it takes all kinds, you know? Like, that I think is the main thing. Or another thing we really have to come to terms with is that the world is not going to conform to us, and I don't think it's meant to. I think we're meant to, like, figure out a way to conform or coexist, you know, forget conform, you know, individually the way we just are in the world with each other. Like, I think that's what we need to learn how to do if we don't want to be troubled, and we don't want to be angry, and we don't want to have, you know, constant clashing with each other, you know, whether it's a debate or if it goes way beyond that. I think a lot of us are just kind of exhausted with that whole tone. And that too may be a lot of the turbulent changing too, because I mean, I have war fatigue, just haven't been in one actually, but just knowing about the ones that have happened in my lifetime has been, I don't know, exhausting, you know, because I feel like we are in them for reasons that are not clear, or just not really told to us truthfully, and everything being based in and made so important because of basically like, you know, selling and buying and commerce and, you know, capitalism being like our way of life more than the Constitution or the Golden Rule, where real estate is more important than people, but then the people that can't pay for housing, if they had it before, or, you know, whatever it is that makes it hard for them to get like a permanent place, or even a lot of people are ending up out on the street because they have nowhere to go for, you know, it's not just drug addicts and drunks like people on news networks like to say. Like, that's so, how superficial are you? Like, you're talking to the whole country and you're not even gonna look any deeper than that, and you're just gonna make that judgment? That sounds like a personal judgment. That sounds like it, like whatever team you had writing what's on the teleprompter became unnecessary. But I don't know if it comes down from the bosses, but you hear like prevailing attitudes of that kind of thing, or you'll hear that kind of prevailing attitude in places where you just write off people and no consideration is taken or even question about how did they end up there? Like, why does it keep happening? Like, these people had a place to live and a home and they were not drug addicts, so why are they on the street now? Like, but, you know, that would be news. You know, I don't want to hear you, like, make, you know, speak badly of people that are having a hard time. Like, if you're a good person, forget being a Christian or whatever, if you're just a good person, my God, have a heart. Like, it's just so hard to know, like, what to do. But some of us will scorn the people that are on hard times and make them feel like a worse of a failure. Like, how do you think they're proud, some of them, to have ended up there? Do they look happy? Are they dancing in the street? And I'm not talking about because they're on something. I'm saying, do you think they're overjoyed to be in a position where they would love to have someone at least say something nice, but a lot of the people that they interact with blame them for where they are, and that's just so mean and cruel. And I just feel like, man, it could happen to you, the person that acts like that acts out in that way to someone having such a hard time. What you don't understand is how fast it happened to them. You think they wanted, that's what I'm saying. Probably they did not want to end up there. And just what the world is turning into as a result of people just wanting, like, there's more money to be made here, and at the cost of we don't even care, except now you're on the street and you're in the way on the sidewalk where I want to walk. No putting two and two together that, like, there's a cause for this. And it kind of all goes back to the uncaring and, boy, unloving. Like, you can't love a person just as a human being enough to, as they say, piss on them if they're on fire. That's a terrible thing that is just a common phrase. We suck. Yes, the other thing with we're supposed to do what we're doing, I understand that, but you're also supposed to have a job. Do you have to go there and be a snob to your customers, or be a customer and be a complete, I don't know, crazy person when you're dealing with someone that has probably dealt with 7 people in a row just like you previously, and you expect them to fall all over themselves? Like, you're just there to buy a burger, and they're just to take your money. You know, it's like, we do unthinkingly so much stuff to each other. So that's where my mind's been at. Hey, how's it going? So, sorry, I'm just checking over my notes here. I'm just gonna leave that aside. So I did actually pull some cards, and I have more than I actually meant to end up with, but I guess that doesn't matter what I want. I want it to just come out the way it's supposed to come out. So I'm gonna go ahead and I think just go in the order that I pulled them, basically. So the first card I pulled was from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck, and it is the number 25 card, Garden of Venus. And then the next card I pulled was the Bear, and I pulled this yesterday, but different vibe today. And also, I'm getting ahead of myself. This card, Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck. It is the Earth element, as indicated by this icon. And when I point that out, I don't always totally go into what that meaning is about, but the elements of earth, air, fire, and water appear in a lot of disciplines like astrology and mythologies and things. And hold on, then there just also are facts of life. But like the earth element is, I think it's like Virgo energy. Stolid comes to mind. Anyway, I'm not like completely confident on what I just said about the element business. I know I need to study back up on that, but you can also do that. So Bear. And then you know, I had pulled it yesterday and I was like, okay. But like I said, different meaning today. And then I just felt like I wanted to pull another one, so this was the other one that I pulled. And it is the fire element at the top there. So maybe in the information box, I'm going to have to talk more about those element things. Excuse me, I'm making a note. And this is a note to make notes for the information box. Oh, I did not ask you to take observance of my sign there. Signs. So I'm not going to actually pull the phone down from my contraption I have it attached to. You can pause it and expand your screen, but it says opinion commentary mainly, and that I may start talking about some entertainment feature of some type, book, movie, show, and spoil some things, so be aware. And also that there often is more that I have to say to be found in the information box or description box under the video. Like almost every time I will have more to say. I pulled an angel number card from this deck, and it is the 1010 card. The subtitle is, "It's Up to You." And then I had this deck that I haven't really used. Well, I was gonna say I haven't really used it doing this, but I really hadn't used it at all because when I bought it on Amazon, the description, I guess I didn't read it closely enough, but it only it's a tarot deck, but it only gives you the major arcana of the tarot deck, so it's not complete. And I've just been kind of like, but it's so cute and I want to use it. And I was just kind of like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I'm like, I'm broken. Like, can I use this without the rest of the parts? I actually have some other decks that might have the minor arcana. But anyway, I just felt like, go ahead and pull one. And then I pulled the High Priestess, which is the number 11 card. So if you eliminate the zeros on this angel number card, it also is an 11. So I pulled 1111, and then I'm back to the first card, which is the Garden of Venus, which I just think is perfect after the Garden of 11, after the 1111. Hi, kitty. Be sure and distract me. Please go sit down and relax. Thank you. I pulled it first, but I'm leaving it to last because I feel like all of this ties into what I was just talking about earlier. So I'm going to be able to go through this pretty quickly and not take forever, finally. So the bear card, I noticed when I pulled it that there are little black sort of intrusions into the picture, and I thought, well, that kind of looks like curtains that were pulled aside for the bear to step through, and it's coming into the spotlight. And I had the thought, the sleeping beast has been awoken. And then I got this card, and but not everything's black and white. As in, there's gray areas to all of these things that are coming out, like the Quiet on Set and the Me Too movement. And, you know, Hollywood has always been known to be a place where maybe you don't want to take your mom. I mean, it's got like fantasy and wonder and glitter and glitz, whatever the hell a glitz is. What is glitz? Anyway, it's got it, but a lot of facades are used in Hollywood, like literal facades, like fake building fronts, but also it mirrors kind of the Hollywood society where it looks great from the outside. The facade of it looks great, but behind the scenes, it can be pretty dangerous, icky, compromising, or rewarding, fascinating. You know, it's like life. It's like the world. Everything has all of that. So nothing is black and white. And then, as far as the heavy stuff, with like my black stuff, the black people on the show, in the scandal that's happening right now, where I feel like that's going to get all kinds of coverage. And I don't know if the celebrities and politicians that have been unnamed and yet still named, you know, anonymously, identities obscured. I don't know if we'll ever get to know who those people are, or what their offenses were in particular that they could be blackmailed for, other than being at a party. And how much to blame are you if you've been drugged and stuff happens to you and you're coerced? You know, your physical space is just intruded upon. That's the, yeah. But still humiliating, and because income streams are tied to a lot of this stuff, it's important that facades remain. So You know, stuff may take a beating, and that's going to require the people trying to hide stuff across the board, like people that, sorry to use the word, but it's accurate here, fell victim to these like unethical practices and just immoral and icky, have been playing a lot of like Hollywood magic games to obscure things. But also, that kind of magic doesn't only exist in Hollywood, it also exists in finance. And a lot of that kind of trickery is coming out because people want to maintain appearances, and that is supported in a way, perhaps, by the financial interests. I don't know. I mean, there's investigations going on, so we don't know all of what's going on. There's a lot of talk. There's a lot of dots being connected, but that's not in the courtroom where it matters. Like the court of public opinion is on fire right now with inquiry and talk and intrigue, and a lot of people, though, are spilling their guts. And dude, hurt people need to speak up. Like, holding that in forever is just not good. Whichever end you are, if you're the perpetrator or the unfortunate recipient of that attention, everybody's going through something. I promise you. And so 1010, it's up to you, is the subtitle. And the text reads, "It's time to put those long-cherished ideas into action. You will soon come into contact with the appropriate individuals, circumstances, and resources. Eventually, you will experience joy as well as brand new opportunities. Trust in the process." Well, that's as encouraging as hell for those people, like everyone involved that I mentioned. That's awesome. So the keywords are kind of interesting here. Moderation. I'm going to go with the past on this, where I'm going to just opine that some probably should have been exerted by everyone involved. Patience. I'm just going to go back to moderation for a second. When you want something real bad, maybe it's good to remember that even wanting something overly much needs to be moderated, so you don't see the carrot dangling in front of you, but not the hazards on the ground that you have to walk through on the way. Like, the carrot's just going to keep, you understand what I'm saying? The carrot's on the stick hanging in front of you, and you're a horse, and you want the carrot. So you want to chase after it faster, but you better pay attention to where you're running on, because you can step into pitfalls and traps and things, and it doesn't even have to be sinister. Just like, you can avoid that if you're paying attention and you're not impatient to get that prize, you know, become that star, make that money, whatever the ambition is. Flow, I guess that's just on all of these cards, but it's good to keep in mind, because when you get out of it, you get messed up, like every time. Clarity. I mean, yes, keep your eye on the prize, but also look down so you're not tripping up. Joy. You don't need to make it big to have it. You can find it at any time. It's always there. Movement, well, that's just good for us, literally, physically, and then also it happens around us, and so it, you know, I guess stay in shape so you can keep moving. Self-realization. Well, that hits home. I've been having that, and I shared it with you, and it didn't go over well. But I knew that was going to happen. Sometimes you know, it's just necessary to do what seems unnecessary, but I feel like it wasn't. Taking action. A lot of people are speaking up, speaking out, and that's good because you're not staying stagnant. You are a movement, and that's good for your self-realization. Unconditional love. Well, I know that seems like a hard one, but that's kind of like why all of this stuff kind of screwed up, like especially with the capitalism stuff, because corporations became people because people love money more than they love people. Amen. But here's the thing. You can, once you like get through all of this stuff, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It doesn't, you know, the tunnel may have been a tunnel of horrors, but it's a tunnel, and look, you got water flow presumably under you, or maybe you're in it, but that is movement. It is moving forward at all times. That's the implication I get. Oopsie. Okay. I guess I'm done. Thank you and good night.